Hey friends, I hope you're doing really well, and most of you are probably in a place where it's pretty warm, so I hope you're keeping cool the best you can. I asked a really simple question yesterday here on this page around what do you need support with? And I gave people 4 choices just because, and there's more options to what people need support with as well, but I wanted to kind of compartmentalize in really the 4 areas that my team and I really go as deep as you can go with in our work as nutrition therapists and trauma-informed specialists with recovery. So I asked this question: what are you struggling with, and what do you need support with? So number 1, nuances with food. Number 2, body image. Number 3, capacity for life. And number 4, movement health. And I got lots of answers, like a couple dozen, actually several dozen. And what I thought was interesting, of course, I thought it was lovely because it shows the differences depending on our lived experience we might have with different aspects of recovery. For me, obviously, I'll call it shame busting, aka trauma healing, and movement were the hardest pieces for me because I had my moral compass pretty well set around. Even though, I want to fit in with the culture, I know fitting with the culture makes me feel yucky in terms of like body image stuff. So I was okay. And food, I like food and I wanted food to be normal again. And the exercise was such a deeply rooted issue. So I'm just sharing my lived experience just because everybody's different and you are allowed to actually not be struggling so hard with certain things. And some things are going to be harder, and that's okay. But what I thought was interesting, the results of this little poll was that the least picked option was capacity for life. And I think, and that's okay that people said that, because we also think, because of everything I think we see on social media and the education efforts out there, is that we do focus a lot about food because food is the external symptom, right? That's okay. All of these things need our devoted time and attention. It takes time to relearn our interoceptive awareness around what we're hungry for, how much it's going to satisfy us, in what circumstances. As non-diet dietitians, we spend loads of hours helping people reclaim a relationship with food that just works for them. I mean, everybody's an individual and it's terrific. And we spend months, working on body image and really uprooting and dismantling fat phobia and diet culture. All that mental and relational, emotional stuff has to happen. The same thing with movement and health. Really looking at the reality of purposeful weight loss for people is, again, not going to work for 90-something% of people, and most people are not going to be able to purposely lose weight to improve their health without having longer term negative side effects down the road. That's just the reality. You don't eat enough, you starve your body. You eat yourself. That's all there is to it. And there's ramifications to that long term, right? And so we can find so many other ways to be supportive of our health. But the thing that people didn't say is capacity for life. And I think that's because most of us aren't taught that. And even the people who are doing the educating, haven't always looked in the mirror real closely to be able to articulate that it's so important that we learn how to feel the feels and recognize there's a difference between uncomfortable situations, uncomfortable relationships, uncomfortable emotions, and a threat. And once you start to build your capacity around that, your ability to know who to trust and to have that discernment and to know how to take in the good without lumping in your past experiences with your current experience and having it all mushed up and confusing, the more you're able to do that, 1, 2, and 4 are just possible. They're so much easier. Things go so much more effectively and efficiently when we're able to grow our nervous system health capacity. Health gets better easier, and interoceptive awareness. I know the difference between fullness of feelings versus fullness of food. It's easier for me not to judge myself because I have a compassionate witness on board. So I just want to share that it's not uncommon for people to think the external symptom is the real problem. It's something that needs a lot of time and attention, but it's so much easier when we start to get out of these trauma responses and have enough relational safety with ourselves and others on board to be able to look at these things. And it's less, you can have less white knuckling. It doesn't have to take 10 years to learn intuitive eating. There's so many people in pseudo and kind of sort of recovery that it's one of my missions to make sure, no, we want, the fullest recovery you can get. I know some people fully recover, some people have barriers to that maybe for whatever reasons. And even then, if I would talk to them, I would know like, okay, here's what's missing. We could get there. It's going to be some work, but we can get there. I think all this is possible. But anyway, I know some people get maybe not so happy about that statement, but I believe it's true. So anyway, I want to ask you all, when it comes to nuances with food and body image work and capacity to be able to separate uncomfortable things, experiences versus an actual threat, and then the movement and health piece, like where specifically are you feeling more stuck? That we could talk more about this. Now, I have 10 years of videos on, obviously here on this platform. You can also find them on YouTube. They're there, they're archived. You just kind of type in Tracy Brown RD, whatever topic, and something will pop up where I've talked about it. But since I asked the question, I really want to meet people where you are in this current time. What is it that you're missing with nuances of a food? Is it like, I'm pretty good at knowing where I'm hungry, but when I get in a fight response, I feel so full of that I can't feel the difference between like the fight response and my fullness with food, let's say. Let's be really specific here so we can support each other. And anybody who has any kind of lived experience with what was helpful for them, talk about it here. I know for me that like, I had to stay away from that scale for a long, long time. Some people see it more often because it helps them differentiate fullness of emotions inside their body container versus what it feels like, what the body actually is. Everybody's different. Nuance wise with food, some people have to purposely eat with variety, even if they don't always feel like it, because they need to install some new neurobiology that different is safe. Some people need to do blank slate and not move, even though I know the health recommendations are to move your body, and inherently that is good. But for a season, it might be a terrible idea for you to be at a gym or even having anything prescriptive, and it just happens when it happens until you work through that relationship. Because all of these are relationship. Your relationship with people, your relationship with your trauma responses, your food, your movement, health, and the way you look and how you navigate the world. These are all relationships, and they take care and attention. You can't just read it in a book and then like, oh yeah, that's right, I agree with it, and then you do it. Some people, that does happen. I've run across a few people who just read the intuitive eating book and like, you know what? This makes sense. Dieting is dumb. I'm never looking back. That does happen. But that didn't happen for me, and I don't see it happen for the majority of people. Not because we're not smart enough, but because we have these vortexes. And when I say the vortex, that means when you're in the vortex, it means part of you wants to get like do it all because in your conscience and in your gut and in your soul that like all the stuff you're reading is good and it's right. However, and you also know like, okay, I know I've got to stop making my health dependent on my weight. It's convoluted. There's so many, there's like over 100 different factors in determining our health, and weight is just one of them, one of like over 100. So it's like we can't be rational to think if I just change my weight, my health will be improved. If I just change my weight, I won't have any more relationship difficulties or struggles with fear of rejection or whatever it is. So that's why we have to understand what veils are covering our eyes that are keeping us stuck. So in the comments below, I'd love to hear from you. Some nuance here. This is the station for that, is nuance. I don't want to have things here be trite or boring or anything. So it's really important that you write down and maybe take some time to journal, report back here. If you want to work with me privately, please reach out. If you don't want to do this, in full view. But it's really important to recognize that what is it that is making me believe that that I'm stuck, that I can't move forward. What's happening here? That you can kind of wrap your arms around and build some relationship with and be a witness to. So I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video I'm going to do this week, probably Wednesday, Thursday, around, depending on your answers, we're going to go deeper, and I'm really happy to support you all. If you need me, please reach out. I'll put a link below so it's not hard to find, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. Bye for now.